Salisbury Center, we are ready to get the action started once again. Making his way to the cage and fighting out of the red corner, it's Theo Yates, Jr.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are at bout number 6 here at CageZilla 73. Fighting out of the red corner is Theo Yates, Jr. 5'7", weighed in at 132 pounds at 23 years of age. He's fighting out of Prodigy MMA in Kearneysville, West Virginia. With a record of 1-0, he's the 19th amateur bantamweight in Virginia. Now, Sadiq, one thing I like about this fight, it was booked yesterday. Both him and his new opponent had their original opponents drop out, and they were just like, yeah, all right, let's do this, let's weigh in, and let's get it going. And it worked out.
Hey, I like that, man. You know, you came here for a reason, and I won't stress it enough. Sometimes I feel like us as fighters, we put so much stress into every single competition, you know, where, of course, I want you to try to win as much as possible. But the most important part of this amateur thing is the ring time, you know? Because sometimes you get in here and you knock your opponent out in half a second, too. And that literally does nothing for your career. You know,
yeah.
It's like, it's fun, and it's fun to get the win. It's fun for your to go show off with your friends. But when it comes to actually helping out your career, that 1 second in the ring doesn't really do much. As like it help you for your walkout. Okay, I'm now more comfortable. But the ring time is what matters. So hey, I lost my opponent. You lost your opponent. Let's figure this out.
Let's get into it, right? You know, and it's so funny you say that too. That young guys, especially in their career, actually young guys, new fighters always put so much pressure on every single competition. When really, you know, you just got to get out there and do your thing. You know, get the rep and get after it. And we'll throw it back to Chris for the call of the Disciple MMA Academy's Olli Karjalainen.
And his opponent, making his way to the cage and fighting out of the blue corner, it's Olli Karjalainen.
Olli Karjalainen. That is not an easy name to say, but I want to give a shout out to Ryan McDonald for pronouncing it phonetically for me. At 5'7", weighed in at 134 pounds. He's 21 years old, fighting out of Disciple MMA by way of Aldie, Virginia. However, Olli is a member of the Everett University Wrestling Team, a Division III school where he's been competing for the last 3 years. I believe he's heading into his senior year now, and he's of Finnish descent. That's for the last name there. I like that fun fact. Thank you, Ryan. And you'll see he's got the Disciple MMA crowd behind him, a stacked coaching staff. Anthony Rossi is going to be the main event tonight. And right now, this crowd is getting into it here. Disciple shows out,
they
man.
They always show out. And that's something that's been going on since back when I was an amateur, you know. They've always packed out the room. Whenever one of their guys is fighting, they show up in full force. And again, this is another guy that we're seeing with some solid credentials when it comes to grappling.
Yeah, and it's fantastic, right, to have that kind of support. You see Scott Howard there, the head coach and owner of Disciple MMA. Josh Vances, current professional fighter, former CageZilla competitor as well in his corner. And to your point, you know, he's competing at a collegiate wrestling, which I know people talk about D3, D2, D1. Obviously, D1 is like the holy grail until you get to the Olympics. But ultimately, any collegiate wrestling, consistent collegiate wrestling, is high level.
Yeah, definitely. Don't forget, John Jones
Yeah.
is not a D1 wrestler, you know?
Right, right. That's a great point.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. Some of these JUCO guys are good. Some of these D3 guys are good.
I mean, Benson Henderson was an NAIA guy, right? You know, there's just having that advanced level of wrestling, transitioning into MMA, going to a school like Disciple where you're going to get very high-level striking, man, that's a recipe for success. And he's had a hard time finding opponents. He's been giving it a shot, but Theo's had a tough time too, ironically enough. So both guys who've had a hard time finding opponents have managed to find each other here one day before the fight takes place. And we'll throw it down to Chris Fuller for the official introduction.
Salisbury Center, this bout is scheduled for three-minute rounds in the CageZilla Bantamweight Division. It is brought to you by our friends at Green Village Concrete, the level best in Northern Virginia, and Tony's New York-style pizza, simply the best Italian dishes in Northern Virginia. And now, starting out, fighting out of the red corner, standing 5'7" and weighing in at 132 pounds, fighting out of Prodigy MMA with a record of 1 win and no defeats, it's Theo Yates, Jr. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, standing 5'7" and weighing in at 134 pounds, fighting out of Disciple MMA, making his CageZilla debut, it's Olli Karjalainen. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for three 3-minute rounds in the CageZilla Bantamweight division. It is brought to you by Green Village Concrete and Tony's New York Style Pizza. Your referee is Michael Dolman.
Both fighters eager to start here as Mike Dolman gets those cages closed. And here we go for our 6th bout of the evening.
And like you were saying before, this is two very, very good guys that was having a hard time finding opponents, so now they're forced to fight each other. And that's something that's very, very common in MMA as opposed to boxing, you know? When it comes to boxing, like, a lot of guys try, oh, I like that. Like, he had a hard time checking the low kick at first, so he decided to just jump over both kicks, you know? But like I was saying, in amateur boxing sometimes, professional boxing or amateur, a lot of guys are fighting people that aren't necessarily on their level. But when it comes to mixed martial arts, from the beginning, you're always trying to fight somebody as close to your level as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, boxing, so much of it is about the experience at the cost of whoever else is in front of you. Whereas in MMA, you really want, especially for amateurs, you want to get the experience with guys who are going to challenge you, but be somewhat close. Maybe you have a slight advantage at all times, but somebody's going to push you. And
but
right now,
the benefits of that, though, is that wins and losses aren't. A loss won't kill your career.
Right, absolutely. And right now, we're seeing some interesting grappling here. Ollie's got the
very
body
tight
triangle.
Body triangle from Olli.
Although good strength there from Yates. Although now he's fighting that rear naked choke grip.
Yeah, and some of these guys, when they get this body triangle, the round is almost over. You know, now you're just fighting off, trying to stay alive, trying to defend the body triangle. And that's something that we're seeing that's very common now, especially in the no-gi circuit. These guys are starting to specialize on just getting to your back and throwing a body triangle on you. And this is very tight. That body triangle isn't going anywhere. And a few times, Theo tried to spin out, but it's one of those things where you have to have a very, very tiny waistline to be able to spin out of somebody's body triangle, especially when it's that tight. And Olli keeps on turning the body triangle to the point where he's almost flattening them out with the body triangle.
And, I mean, that's ideal. In MMA, that's probably the most dominant position you can get in.
Definitely.
If he could just stretch that lower back a little bit and make it a little bit more painful, he could probably finish with some ground and pound.
Definitely. And I've had, like, somebody we both trained with, Sam Kilmer. Like, some people that are, like, specialized in getting to these positions. It's close to impossible to be able to get out of it. At a certain point, you're just kind of defending and hoping the referee stands you up or you don't get submitted.
Yeah, I think my only escape has been looking at the clock and hoping for the best with Sam. Good pressure here from Olli.
Now, one thing Theo can look for is to try to drop him to the side of the body triangle where the actual hook is at, you know. But now you got to see if your opponent is flexible enough to be able to take that crank. Because there are some people where no matter what side you put them on, their knees are perfectly fine and their ankles perfectly fine. But, okay, now Theo's using the fence, which is now something foreign that you don't usually see when you're training in the room. But now he's on bottom out, which is what the body triangle is still on. A great fight from Theo, you know, and this is why you see, like, both of them had a hard time finding opponents because they both have that dog in them, you know. It's very technical, nice, and he was able to make it out of the round. And that's kind of what you see when it comes to this body triangle position. The round is almost gone because most people, as long as they're adequate with the body triangle, they could run out the clock with that position. And on Olli's side, he wasn't even relatively trying to run out the clock. He was still trying to get a finish. But that position is just so dominant.
Yeah, it's one of the best. Honestly, it's my favorite. I'm a little bit lanky, so anytime I can get somebody there, it's the best. And anytime it's done to me, it's the worst.
Yes.
Right? I can't stand it. But, you know, one of the things I liked about Olli there was that he was constantly transitioning his attacks. He was always switching up. He was body triangle, then he was going ground and pound, then he was working all these different things, you know. And it was something about that I find encouraging for a guy who's trying to finish the fight.
Exactly.
At the same time, Theo's grit, and like you said, they both got the dog in him. He did a really good job of getting out of that. But now he's got to think a little bit more, right? His first couple strikes, he was winging these low kicks, putting a lot of power behind him, telegraphing them, not really worrying about his punches as much, and he got taken down. So now I got to see if he's going to transition to boxing and try to keep this fight at a little bit further range.
Now, another thing that's great about that body triangle, too, is, like, you're relatively not using that much energy. And, again, Theo's starting off with crazy low kicks, and he kind of closed the distance a little too wild, you know. You got to go in there a little bit more technical. Maybe work some jabs in and then find your shots when you could get them. That's a very strong body lock from Olli, and he uses just bring him straight to half guard.
now he's in a good top position here. Scott Howard calling for a post and an elbow.
Yeah, Theo had a decent underhook at first, but he just couldn't use it to transition anything. Now he's looking to attack the leg. That's not bad. So a few times that we've seen tonight, some of these guys are getting into good transitions when they're going for the leg, but they're just not attacking the heel fast enough.
Right,
you know?
right.
I feel like some of them are trying to get too much control before they start attacking the heel.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just like a little bit too slow, and they're controlling the wrong part, right? They're not keeping the knee in the game. They're letting the knee go away by just trying to grab the ankle.
Yes.
And right now you're going to see, good neck crank there to free his own ankle.
Yeah, neck crank him all the way back to that same back control position. He's looking to try to get the second hook in. He's still only one hook out, but he has a power half on the other side, and sometimes that's all you need.
Excellent, excellent.
Both hooks in, and now he's fighting them out, and now this is probably going to be the beginning of the end. Just like we saw earlier in the night, you need your elbows to be able to base up, but you also need your hands to help you protect from punches. So you got to pick one or the other, and the referee's probably going to step in here any moment now.
I mean, right now he's got to. I think he's looking to stop it. You know, we're not seeing anything out of Yates.
Yeah, Yates is kind of just flailing. He doesn't really have an answer, and he was able to get to his side. I give it to the referee for giving Yates a chance to work, but he was stuck.
Yeah, it was stuck, and that was a great call. Honestly, I was surprised. I felt like it was going to actually stop a little bit sooner than that.
Earlier.
Hats off, though, to Olli Karjalainen.
Yeah, that was a very, very strong performance from Olli.
Yeah, Olli looked great. I mean, he had such good control there. When he took the back, he wasn't letting you out, you know, and the only way to get out was basically with what we saw, which was excessive ground and pound until eventually the ref pulled him off. Man, Disciple MMA, huh?
Yeah,
they got it going on.
Always pack the house.
Hats off to Scott Howard for just creating such a great community that they have there at Disciple. I've never met one I haven't liked. They're just a great group of people. They're always so tough, and they always come prepared. And Olli Karjalainen really represented that team very, very well.
A very good display of sportsmanship, too, with him going to the corner to go check on his opponent.
Yeah, it's just, and like I was just saying about Disciple, it's what you expect at this point, you know? They always do the right thing. And a great showing there. We're waiting for Mike Dolman to get everybody corralled and on their way.
Now, that's one of those things you see, like, he's still actively competing in college, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's always in the room consistently in these kind of positions to where if I understand he might be an amateur MMA guy, but wrestling doesn't really have a pro scene, to be honest, but college is as pro as you could get in wrestling, you know?
Yeah.
So he is like a pro-level wrestler. It's just he has to fight amateur in MMA.
And that's the thing, right? Collegiate level wrestling it's such an advantage for when you start your amateur career. It's like almost like a cheat code, but it's a cheat code that you put 18, 19 years in prior.
Grind into.
We'll throw it down to Chris Fuller for the official decision.
Salisbury Center referee Michael Dolman has called a stop to the action 1 minute and 38 seconds into the second round for your winner by TKO due to strikes. Out of the blue corner, it's Olli Karjalainen.
A big win for Olli Karjalainen out of Disciple MMA. When we return, bout number 7, CageZilla 73.